Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce our group. We are from group 14 and we all talk about language and brain, language areas and their function. We are from group 14 and the member that's me, Muhammad Abdul Rahman, and the last name is Yanti. In this section, we all talk about definition of language, function of language and the brain, evolution, language and the brain, the resilience of language and brain relationship, and more. Firstly, we'll talk about definition of language. In Brooks' Chair of the World, he said language is a verbal tool used to communicate, and in language is a system of arbitrary spoken symbols used by members of a language community to communicate and interact with each other based on their shared culture. Then we'll talk about function of language. Our concern is primarily with language comprehension and its disorder. However, the neural mechanism that the brain has evolved for language processing are based, at least in part, upon novel synergies that have evolved between the motor control and the auditory perceptual. Then, language in the brain. Language is predominantly literalized to the left hemisphere in the vast majority of people, even the majority of left-handers. Then, we'll talk about evolution of language and the brain. It is uncontroversial in scientific circles at least that the human brain has undergone very rapid growth in recent evolution. Areas of the brain that experience the biggest development seems to be especially related by language, frontal lobe and junction, frontal, occipital, and temporal lobes. Then there is silence of language. It is undeniable that some regions of the brain are more involved in linguistic and especially grammatical processing than others. Then language and the brain relationship, according to Walt Whittaker in Chahyono Bambang Yudi, the determination of certain areas of the brain in relation to language are based on three main pieces of evidence.
The first evidence is that the element of language skill that occupy the same part of the brain. Language skill, speaking, listening, reading and writing, and linguistic structure, synthetic and semantic features, lexical and grammatical has a distinctive area in the brain. The second evidence is that everyone's language occupies the same area of the brain. The third proof is there is a relationship between language skills and the hemispheres of the brain.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, I'm Yanti. I will continue my material, namely a function of brain. The brain is divided into main functional section called lobes. Their section or brain lobes are called the frontal lobe, temporal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, the cerebellum, and the brain stem as a specific function as described below. Frontal lobe function, attention and concentration, self-monitoring, organization, speaking expensive language, motor planning, and intention. Awareness of ability and limitation personality, mental flexibility, inhibition of behavior, emotion, problem solving, planning and anticipation, judgment, partial lobe, sense of touch, spatial perception, differentiation, identification of size, shapes and colors, and visual perception. Brainstem, breathing, soul and consciousness, attention and concentration, and heart rate. Temporal lobe, memory, understanding language, artistic language, sequencing, hearing, and organization. Cerebral lobe, balance, skill, motor activity, and coordination. Occipital lobe, vision. Picture the location of language abilities in the brain. Chair Abdul, 2002. The human brain is divided into two hemispheres. The left hemisphere is the logical brain and is involved in language and analyzing, and the right hemisphere is the creative brain involved in daydreaming and imagination. The left hemisphere controls the right side of the body, while the right hemisphere controls the left side. Okay, let's see the picture. About description, number 1, primary visual area, 2, angular gyrus, 3, arcuate fascicles, 4, motoric area, 5, Broca area, 6, auditory area, and 7, Wernicke's area. Okay, the next material, there are several other ways to demonstrate dislocation theory, including A, double listening test. This technique is done by stimulating certain parts of the surface cortex with an electric current, as two neurosurgeons have done, Van Veld and Robert, and until 5C9 during the neurosurgery treatment of process brain patients. Brain anatomy difference techniques. Inertial Chair, 2002, 130 conducts a post-mortem analysis on the brains of babies who had died, proving that the hemispheres were asymmetrical. This brain is born, and this asymmetry results from the presence of certain patterns in the left hemisphere, which specially regulates language. See how to see the brain with PET, positron emission tomography. Another way to prove the theory of lateration and location is by see the brain directly by using tools called with this PET. We see parts of the brain, especially parts of the shortest at the same time. Those parts work. The aphasia disease. If there is damage to the left hemisphere, speech disturbances occur, called aphasia. Well, that's the material from us. If anyone wants to ask, please give your comments on Google Classroom. Bye bye.